Welcome, welcome, loungers. I hope everybody is doing as great as I am this afternoon. Listen, I want everybody to hit the like button on their way in. And for those that will catch the replay, I truly appreciate you guys as well. Today, we are going to get into the story of Keven Dino Connor, who is an H-Town legend, okay? And yes, he has passed away, and he has been passed away for some time. And I'm a little embarrassed to say that I was not aware of the fact that he was actually dead, okay? I was just doing my little, YouTube stuff and just doing my little research on different celebrities and things like that the other day. And I ran across this story and I was shocked to find what I knew, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and share this story with you guys today on Dino, as well as what happened with H-Town and what is happening with them currently today, okay? So guys, sit back and relax while we get into this hot topic today. So as I went and researched this very uncelebrated group as well as singer, I actually found that there was very limited information on Dino's childhood, as well as his past and even his death. And I also found that there was very limited information on his adulthood as well, okay? So what I will share with you guys today is what I have been able to find. And where I've received it, I'll actually put in the description box for you guys to see for yourself, okay? The reason for this show in its entirety, and really in actuality, the real reason that I'm doing this is because of the fact that he is so underrated as a performer and as a legend. I almost feel bad that there isn't much information out there about him, okay? I admired him myself as a teenager, admired H-Town as a group, especially him in particular, right? And y'all could just kind of look and see why, it's not hard to see why any woman would want to be, his girlfriend or be knocking some boots with that guy. Okay. But either way, we're going to get into him and do this tribute because there doesn't seem to be many across the board. Okay. So I most definitely wanted to do my part and at least being a part of that heartfelt appreciation for his life and legacy and be a part of that history. Okay. So let's go ahead and dive into his life. Now, in 1993, this hip hop and R&B music scene was actually on fire with groups like ladies, that swooned the ladies like Boys to Men and Shy, those kinds of groups. Jodeci actually came into the scene with some sexier vibes, which kind of kicked in the door for other Black male groups in this genre. Now, on April 15th, 1993, H-Town debuted their first album, The Fever for the Flavor. And let me show you guys that album real quick. Let me go ahead and pull up the branding for that. So it was this album right here that H-Town actually debuted, The Fever for the Flavor, okay? And that was pretty cool. Everybody really enjoyed that album. It was really a great thing, and it was particularly because of what came out in regards to Fever for the Flavor. Okay. Now the fans just went absolutely wild. Every woman wanted in the world wanted to knock boots with these guys, just because of this album. Okay. And y'all know what I mean by knocking boots. All right. But things weren't actually as glamorous as they really seemed, or at least appeared to be at this time of the group's success. As actually a matter of fact, they never really truly seemed to get back to that particular place that they were at, even with successful tracks after that. Okay. So let's dive into this. Now, the brothers Solomon Shazam Carter and Keven Dino Carter were born and raised in Houston on the South Side in Yellowstone neighborhood. Now, contrary to popular belief, they are not twins, okay? Even though for very good reason, everybody had believed that they were actually twins. For the particular reason, because Solomon and Keven had both uttered the fact that they were twins in the past, okay? The brothers are not twins. In fact, Solomon was actually born on December 17th, 1973, and Keven, Dino, was born 11 months later on November 18th, 1974. So they're about 11 and a half months apart, or 11 months apart or so. Now, the brothers tended to hang with the wrong crowd when they were children. So they went to go and were sent to live with their grandmother. And while there, the boys actually observed several family members, including some uncles who they're very close to, that were very musically inclined, and began to sing together, like in a group together, out of inspiration from the uncles and the other family members. So they met a friend named Daryl G.I. Jackson in high school, and they kind of brought him into the group. And now they actually met up with this guy named Philip Blackman. Okay. And Philip Blackman was the first person to have been known to manage the boys. Okay. And he helped them form a group called the Gents. Okay. So let me go ahead and give you guys what the Gents were and what was going on with the Gents at the time, because the Gents came up with an album called It's No Dream. Okay. Yes, guys, they were on top of the world. They thought, everything was great. They had a manager and, they created this group, and the group and the album flopped. Okay. Everything just kind of went to waste. It is also believed that this happened because of poor management, kind of lack of understanding on both their part as well as their manager's part in regards to the music business, and not even having any real connections to so. Okay. So the boys then moved on, and they moved on to a new producer named Bishop Burrell, okay, who also hired a manager named Pat Johnson. Now, Pat had connections with Uncle Luke. Everybody knows who Uncle Luke is, better known as Luke Skywalker or simply Luke, okay, the guy who was the American rapper, promoter, executive record producer. He's an actor, he's an author, and he's also the former leader of the rap group 2 Live Crew. Okay, y'all know all the music from 2 Live Crew. Well, Uncle Luke is the one who Pat knew. Okay, and so Pat kind of got a hold of Luke, and when Luke came into town, into Houston, for a show that he was doing. So he met up with Pat, was hanging out with Pat, and Pat was kind of pressuring him, trying to get him and persuade him to hear this group, the Gents. Okay, right? So Luke was just not interested. He really didn't want to fool with them. He really just wasn't interested at all. Just kind of just let it go. Had no interest in dealing with them whatsoever. And then he ended up going on and saying, okay, well, let's go ahead and, I got to go. I got to go out back to Miami. So he went to go back to Miami, and Pat kept trying to delay his flight. Okay. He was trying to get him. He was the one taking him to the airport, trying to get him, and was delaying him trying to get to his flight. Ultimately, Luke ended up missing his flight, and Pat finally persuaded him to hear these guys sing. Okay. So he went to their house and he listened to them in their living room, belt out what he thought was the most beautiful song in the world. And long and behold, he went and actually signed them. Now, this was his own words. Okay. He said when he met up with these boys, he said they looked dirt poor. And this is not alleged. This was Luke's own words in his own memoir. Okay. He said that the boys looked completely dirt poor. And that, he just kind of wanted to help them. And when he heard them sing, he knew the potential that they had. So he quickly signed them and brought them down to Miami, to his place. Okay. Brought them over to Miami. So they come over to out to Miami. They flew out there, from him. And when he said they arrived, they showed up with absolutely nothing, no bags, no nothing. Okay, just the clothes on their back. He said there were holes in their shoes, just everything. Okay. He said, he said just, he just felt like he wanted to help them and just felt they actually deserved it. They were really good kids. He knew that they had been in some whatever, but he's a grown young man. He knows what it's like, and he decided to go ahead and quote unquote help them. But y'all don't start celebrating Uncle Luke yet, okay? Because we got some more ish to get into with this guy and them, okay? So Luke actually took them to the mall, okay, while they got there. And he brought them each 3 sets of shoes and also some outfits, okay? He took them to the barbershop, got their hair cut, got their face all trimmed up nice and everything, took them to a really fancy, elaborate dinner that night down there in Miami. And about a week later, he bought them a house, okay? Put them in the house, and it kind of changed their name from the Gents to H-Town, okay? Because H-Town was, a tribute to Houston, okay? So changed their name, got them all fresh and clean and everything, and everybody's looking great and everything's good, okay? So now let's fast forward to the recording of this album, The Fever for the Flavor, in 1993, when this album was actually released, okay? And that album brought on a very, very popular song called Knockin' the Boots. Everybody remembers the Knockin' the Boots song, okay? And if you don't, I will put a link to it in the description box so you guys can listen to it, okay? That's for the younger people who really don't know what the hell we talking about, okay? But either way, this song just really took them to the top, okay? It literally took them completely to the top. The song and the album itself went platinum, okay? And the young men were on the road so much and on tour so often that they really, Shazam actually said later in an interview with Magic 102.1 that he had no idea how big the record had become. And it wasn't until fans were like rushing the stage and kind of tearing down barricades and stuff to get to them that they actually realized how famous they were, okay? Let me go ahead and play for you what Shazam said about how much they were being paid at this time, okay? So listen to him on Magic 102.1.
First start off, we was really big celebrities, right? But we wasn't making any money. Like the label would give us like $160 a week to eat off of.
$160?
So that's how much they were making people, okay, per week, in regards to and even regards to their success that they had, okay. So that is just absolutely crazy. So Shazam says, that him and the other ones just started doing like things like selling stuff that they owned, right? Even down to their underwear and like garments and stuff, I mean, which one of us wouldn't have paid $100 for, this man's boxers, okay, or something like that? I mean, it was happening, okay? So they were selling these things, and this was stuff that was kind of giving them and generating extra money for them during this time, even though it appeared that they were so super successful, and they were, okay? But the money was not rolling in, okay? Now, during this time, this sounds all too familiar with a whole lot of other artists, but either way, during their career, they won several awards, okay? Also, they had met and performed with multiple artists, including Jodeci, and they had actually recorded a video with Dalvin, and they also went and performed with the late, great Prince, okay? And who Shazam actually says says that Prince told him just to let him know that he was a huge fan of their music. I would have been like floored if I was a superstar and Prince told me he was a star and a fan of my music. I would have been excited about that. So that at that time was something huge for them. Now, when it came to their second album, which the group demanded about $500,000 up front, okay? So let me show you guys what that album was. And that one was called Begging After Dark, okay? So when that album came out, the label did actually agree to the $500,000 up front, okay? Now, keep in mind, they were with Luke and his label at the time, okay, which was Luke Records, all right? Now, they did agree to this $500, demand up front, but guys, this is what they said, okay? Now, remember I told y'all, don't be out here, celebrating Luke all of a sudden, because they claimed that they owed money on this house, okay? So, yeah, that house that Uncle Luke bought them, quote unquote, yeah, that house, okay? They owed money on the house. So they were expecting, and Luke wanted them to pay this money because Luke had taken this money from his record label, okay? And that is how he got the upfront cost in order to pay this off, to pay for this house. And so basically the house was still on the hook, okay, with the bank. So yeah, they still had to pay that. So they wanted this money, but they were like, okay, but this money is going to have to go to this. So by the time they got done paying off the mortgage for this house, the taxes for the house, okay, lawyer fees, accountants, and all that stuff, they were back to the basics of broke, okay? So Dino kind of took the creative seat for their next album, okay? And that's what he did on this album here. And let me pull that album for you guys, which actually is a lovely album if you ever get a chance to listen to this one, okay? It's called Ladies Edition Women's World, okay? Now, with this particular album, like I said, Dino kind of took the lead in taking over this album, and kind of it took the creative seat and in the creation of everything regarding this album, okay? And it was released in November 1994 and became certified gold with songs like Emotions and Baby I Love You and Full Time, okay? Now, I think everybody knows the song Emotions. I absolutely love that song. But the hit song Emotions, that a lot of people may not even know, had featured a video which now seems to be a very eerie premonition of what was to come, okay? Now, where Dino was featured being injured in a car accident. And during this time, Luke signed a distribution deal with Relativity Records, whose parent company was Sony. Now, Luke claimed when it came down for time to, Dino and them for this payment, okay, from Relativity and Sony to release any of these funds, he claimed there were none because of a dispute between him and a previous distribution company of money that was owed to them, okay? So this left H-Town once again up Craps Creek, okay, while Luke and his record label went and filed for bankruptcy, all right? Now, this led to the group's infamous appearance on BET's Video Soul in Shackles, and I'm going to show you guys that video right now. Let me get right to that for you guys. Hold on, guys. Hold on 1 second, guys.
You feel like we should just be convicts in jail, be locked down. And the people that we dealing with that's behind us, they not behind us. They trying, destroy our careers, hold us down. That's how we feel.
The time they came on to Video Soul, and that is the actual infamous video of where they appeared there. And they talked about what they were dealing with, okay? And I will put a link to that in my description box so you guys can listen to the full conversation that they had on the show that day. Now, they made it very clear from this video that their record was not being promoted as well as they wanted it to be out of their contract, and that they also wanted out of their contract, okay? And Luke, of course, was not very happy with this at all. But there wasn't a damn thing he could actually do about it, okay? Because, he was filing for bankruptcy. He was already up Craps Creek with Sony as it was. And so, therefore, there really wasn't a thing he could do. H-Town ended up out of the deal. And they actually signed with Relativity as well as Sony Records. And they also received $1 million each and 50% of their masters at this time, okay? Now, at the time, guys, as we all kind of know, that sounds like a dream come true, okay? It sounds like an amazing deal based off of some of the things that they've already been through with management, different things like that. Again, kind of a tall tale, same story situation with these male groups, right? Now, let's go with any of these groups, right? Now, let's go ahead and keep going. At this time, they also were able to team up with Shirley Murdoch and Roger Troutman from Zapp to record a song for the movie A Thin Line Between Love and Hate, which starred Martin Lawrence, okay? They also started working on another album, which was, you know what? I showed you guys that album already. So it was the third album, which was this one, the Ladies Edition. So this was the third album that they did, okay? Which was the Ladies Edition, A Woman's World, okay? And that album is what they were working on with Sony. And this album is where they really wanted to kind of show their softer side. They wanted to show their loving side, their caring and kinder side, and so forth. Okay. Either way, the Sony really had an issue with that because they really wanted to kind of keep with the raunchiness and the stuff that was going on, prior to it with the other two videos, the Begging After Dark, as well as with the Fever for the Flavor. Okay. But they just couldn't keep them, in line with that. They really wanted to show their softer side with this album right here. Okay. With the ladies edition. Now, where they decided to go ahead and kind of, just compromise with them, they did decide to go ahead and create a song. And that song was called, let me get that song up real quick. Well, let me tell you about the album itself. The album itself was dedicated to Nicole Brown Simpson. Okay, you guys know the lady that was killed, and they claim OJ had done it. Okay, and this happened in '94. Well, this video and this actual album was released October 28th of '97. Okay, and this was in order for them to tribute to her. Okay, but again, Sony wanted them to just be all raunchy and extra and stuff like that. So they did go ahead and compromise, and they went back to the studio and they did create another song, and they called it They Like It Slow. Okay, and that was the name of the song. So that actual song actually took that album to gold status. Okay, and everything was good with Sony. They were good with that. But ultimately, Dino really was not happy with Sony at all. Okay, because he was making music, and he didn't like that they weren't promoting the rest of this album. It was just that one song that they wanted to keep promoting. Okay, and he wanted the rest of the music because it was catering to women. It was kind-hearted. It wasn't sexualizing women and different things like that. He wanted to push that, and they were like kind of refusing to do this. Okay, so he started to turn down various deals that they offered. He started to turn down shows on behalf of H-Town. And keep in mind, he was the lead singer, okay? So he started to turn down shows for them, started to turn down offers and different things like that. And, Shazam even tried to get him like, hey, to kind of change his mind on it. And Dino was not budging. He said, listen, they're trying to take advantage of us. They're not paying us enough and so forth. And, I want you guys to kind of think about this from a standpoint of today, right? In actuality, Dino is a hero in that sense, right? Because he really stood up to the record labels and let them know that he did not want and refused to be taken advantage of. I'm pretty sure he was already well aware of how many times this had happened in the past from groups like New Edition to other groups before them, right? And he was willing to stand up to them and say something to them and just not budge. So in hindsight, this was actually a very smart move business-wise, and on Dino's part. And if they had what they had then available to them now, what they have now available to them then, it would have been a very successful decision, like in a world where independent musicians have social media to kind of drive their record sales and promotions, as opposed to just that big record label who's the only one out for their own interests, right? So Dino's decision to help do this actually helped pave the way for artists today, and how they choose to promote, record, as well as distribute their art. So salute to Dino on part of that in this corner of music history. And I just wanted to make sure I highlighted that on his behalf, okay? Now, moving on, let's go ahead and go to where Dino began to turn down shows and these other opportunities, okay? These quote-unquote opportunities, and he did this because, like I said, he felt that he was being taken advantage of by the powers that be. And yeah, he was probably right? Just based off of what, we now know about record labels and things that they were doing, and the things that were happening at those times, and how things pan out now, right? Even in the Black community as far as Black artists, right? So, this is just an all too familiar story. And either way, it just kind of led to H-Town at that point just kind of going on a hiatus, okay? And G.I., he started working on his own independent projects. Shazam also released a solo album, and that's called Bring the Heat. And let me show you guys that album real quick. That album is right here. So that is Shazam and his album that came out roughly around 98 or so. And yeah, that's his album. That is his only solo album that I know of that he has. Okay. And then Dino also was working on his own album. But at the time, he was working on his own music and just kind of recording various things. But at the time, he felt like really upset at the fact that Sony, as well as the industry itself, was not embracing the kind of music he wanted to make. This was during the time where the industry was trying to force Black music to have a bunch of violence and a bunch of hatred towards women and sexualizing women and all kinds of stuff. And anybody that had any attempt on trying to do the opposite of that got, got the record label's asses to kiss, right? We all kind of know this story. So this isn't anything new. But either way, Dino just sort of isolated himself, allegedly, and according to reports. He just started to isolate because of the softer vibe and the gentler approach that he wanted to have with his music. He just fell into a deep depression over this. At some point, Dino did in fact file for bankruptcy, and the situation became so dire that finally his brother Shazam did come to the mansion that he had. And upon entering this mansion, he realized that the house had no electricity and that it was in complete shambles. He did convince his brother over time, and after talking to him and crying with him and going through it with him, he convinced him to leave and start over again. And he did. He told him that he would, it would be like medicine to kind of, start performing for his audience again. He has lots of fans, and he didn't want him to forget that. So Dino kind of snapped out of it after a few days, and he did. He did leave the mansion, and he decided to, get back into the swing of things and start performing again. And so that's what they did. And in January of 2003, H-Town did reunite and do a performance there. So they did a few shows there for the first couple of weeks. There was a couple of shows that they had set up. And finally, Dino had asked his brother to help him with a song called The Day I Die. Now, at first, Shazam stated that he didn't feel very comfortable with his brother talking about death in this way. And I think I have the Instagram post. You know what? I didn't upload it, so I'm not going to upload that. But either way, I did have a post that he had posted from Instagram where he had talked about his brother. And he basically had said, I'll actually read it to you guys. Let me get that up for you guys, because I would like you guys to hear what was said. It was pretty heartfelt, and it was pretty sad what was said. So I am going to pull that up real quick. Make sure that you guys do hit the like button on the way in. And I do appreciate everybody for being in the building. So one moment while I see if I can find it or not. I should have uploaded it though, but I did forget to upload that. But either way, let me go ahead and just read it to you guys now, because it was pretty heartfelt what was said. All right, so he says, Shazam of H-Town, he says, H-Town for life. Rest in peace, Dino Connor. We will always love you. Thank you for all the love and support you gave us when you were here. You always had the right words to say to me when I was down. You encouraged me when I didn't believe in myself. Thanks, bro. I hold on to your words of encouragement to this day. You knew you weren't going to be here long. Now I understand the words of encouragement better. I remember when you told me that you weren't going to be here much longer, and you waited on God to come get you because you were tired of this evil world. Your words gave me the strength to move forward in life. I thank God we come from a praying family. So that is from his brother, okay? And this was when he had asked him to create this song, okay? And how in the song, those were certain words that he had said, such as he wasn't going to be here much longer, and he was sick of the evil in this world and different things like that. Pretty sad thing, okay? But it turns out that this was actually a premonition to be true, okay? So weeks later, Shazam was negotiating a deal with Atlantic Records along with a 30-day tour. But Dino was nowhere to be found. I mean, they couldn't find him. They were trying to, go over to his house, look for him and his girlfriend. They couldn't find anybody, okay? The family later discovered that on January 28th, 2003, that Dino had left a recording studio with his then pregnant girlfriend 22-year-old Tesha, and were hit by an SUV in Tesha's Honda Civic. Tesha and her unborn baby died at the scene after being thrown from the vehicle. Dino died en route to the hospital after allegedly learning about Tesha's condition. He was 28 years old. 2 out of the 3 SUV occupants are still at large. One occupant named Juan Diaz was stuck in the vehicle, and later was forced to surrender to cops. The suspects were escaping a bank robbery that they had committed just moments earlier. Dino left behind a daughter named Kaja and her mother Jessica. Kaja is actually known to have musical talent nowadays and takes after both her father and her uncle today. Now, record labels only wish to sign H-Town again if they replace Dino, but Shazam absolutely refused to do that, and they actually created their own label, him and G.I., and he and G.I. have continued to produce music even to this day and have released their latest album in 2021 called Date Night. And let me show you guys that and how nice looking. I'm showing y'all the wrong one. Let me show y'all Date Night and how nice looking these brothers is looking today, honey. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? Yeah, they is looking great these days, ladies. Okay, yes, okay. Now, that is the story of Keven Dino Carter. Now, I do find this kind of sad. Like I said, there isn't much more information about his life and legacy. It seems so short-lived and just quite turbulent. And I hope that he has now found peace in the next journey. And I do wish him Godspeed until the next lifetime. And if anybody else has any additional information in regards to him, please let me know, okay? And I will be more than happy to share that information. I do want to read this little thing that we have on the screen here because I thought this was pretty cool. And it's actually some information about Dino and what was there about his life. Okay. So his sign was a Scorpio, child. He was a Scorpio. Okay. His favorite foods. He loved healthy foods, apples, oranges, plums, peaches. I would have ate every little last one of them things off that nigga chest. Okay. Yes. All right. And then his interests were God-fearing women. Amen, son. Someone God sends me. No matter what color, nationality, or background, because I trust in Jesus Christ. And both of his baby moms were Caucasian too. And then it says, things I like to do is praise God, read my Bible, sing songs to God. He really seemed to have a real love for the Lord, a real love for God. And obviously he had an understanding of what was about to happen to him, right? And he's not the only one that has had those types of premonitions in his life, right? And his goals were to make it to heaven. That was his goal, also to make a positive difference in the world. And for sure, I think he has reached both of those goals. I mean, I don't know if anybody else would think that. I think he has definitely made a positive difference in the world. And I would say that he's made it to heaven. I can't say for sure because I don't know, right? But if I would believe that there would be a heaven, I believe that he and this angel would be in that space. So rest in peace to Dino. Let me go over you guys' comments, and then we're going to go ahead and end the show. I appreciate everybody for being in the building. And again, make sure y'all hit the like button on the way in. What's up, Miss Murph? I appreciate you. You said, hey, Miss T. Pre. What's up, Smoke? I appreciate you. You said that happened to a lot of groups during that time. Yeah, they definitely experienced a lot when it came to these management and, poor management and carrying on. It's just ridiculous. Hey, Eyes, I appreciate you. Say, hey, OMG, I didn't know he passed away. I didn't either until maybe like a week or so ago, y'all. But I had to, pay tribute to this fine brother right here. Okay. You said, hey, T. Pre in chat. I appreciate you, beautiful Bernice. So sad, right? Salute. What's up, Pills? I appreciate you being in the building. You said, damn. Hey, y'all. Hey, Samba, I appreciate you. What's up, Pills? You said keeping it 100. Salute. You said, hey, Honeybee, I appreciate you being in the building. You said, hey, Miss T. Pre, Miss Murph, the beautiful Bernice, and Smoke God, and to Pills. You said, hey, to Pills. Hey, Stephanie Collins, appreciate you. You said, good morning, Miss T. Pre, and chat. You said, Honeybee, salute. You said, thank you for doing this. No problem. Definitely appreciate you guys coming in and just checking it out because I really, really like them, And it's funny how you just kind of go on with life when you don't hear from artists anymore and you don't realize what has come of them, what has happened with them. But this is his legacy, and this is what has happened. You said hey, and you said hey to Honeybee. You said hey to Honeybee as well. You said hey to Steph Collins. Everybody's just kind of speaking to each other. You said hi again, Steph Collins. You said Pre about to start talking about all the celebs who died at 27. Y'all heard of that? I have. And there are a couple of them that I do plan on talking about. Jimi Hendrix is one. So I do intend on talking about a couple of them. You said the 27 Club, yeah. But he was 28, so he made it 1 year later, right? But that is spooky that they did die at 27 and the ways that they died, right? You said, I saw them perform live. He was a great performer. How about that? How about that? All right, guys. Well, we're going to go ahead and end the show here. I definitely appreciate everybody who has tuned into the show. Make sure that you guys do hit the like button on the way out. And we will do another Celebrity Tea and Tings very soon, Celebrity Tidbits. And I will talk to you guys later. Truly appreciate y'all again. And thank you guys for watching. Peace, guys.